Hospice has a very valuable place in healthcare. Now, I must tell you, my big objection is not to hospice, but to the fact people get to hospice far too late. There are wonderful benefits available for someone.
What are they, for instance?
For example, with hospice care, you get tremendous pain relief. Most of us don't want to die in pain. We don't want our life to end in pain. Hospice is very good at taking care of pain management. They're very good at taking care of helping you get home care and other services that you need. People tend to think that hospice is, oh no, I'm dying. I always like to tell people hospice is a plan for living, not for dying. It's a plan to live out our lives for however long they are. Now, to be eligible for certified hospice, of course, you must meet that 6-month requirement.
You got to die within 6 months.
Well, except
otherwise
they don't
take all the money back.
Nah, they don't throw you out 182 days. They hang right in there
They
with
do,
you.
but you got to have an estimated time.
Right.
Termination time. Let's not say die. We say die, everybody
move on time.
Yeah. I used to say croak.
Yeah.
When I addressed senior groups.
The highly technical word, croak. But the other thing people don't realize is you actually can be in a hospice program without being in certified hospice. If you have a number of illnesses, some of us are not going to stand up and fall over. We're not going to have the privilege just to croak. We're going to die instead from what I call the dwindles. Each time we get ill, we don't ever quite recover. And then each time we go lower and lower and lower.
It's kind of zigzag.
Yeah,
Right.
But those down pits get a lot deeper each time. So, but those folks also, hospice will make a contact, a regular contact every 6 months, or to say, how are things? They'll also help with referrals to New York Connects, and I know Marianne Spanos has been here and talked about New York Connects. This is your one stop for any service you need, no matter how you pay for it. It doesn't matter what your source of payment or whether you can pay. New York Connects is the place to start.
Now, okay, one of the things about hospice that I've heard a little grumbling about, and I still think it's an excellent program, but what it does is basically it replaces the nursing home hospital scenario with a home, which means now usually it's the oldest daughter or somebody in the family becomes basically a servant, a slave to that person, because they're going to have to take care of all their needs 24/7, and it can make them crazy. There used to be a really decent state program for what they called respite, which would give these people a day off, even a week sometimes, or a little time off, because some of them will wind up in the funny farm themselves because of this.
We try to say to people, yes, there always has to be a primary caregiver, but don't forget friends. I have so often heard people say, I'd do whatever if I knew what to do. So I will often say to families I work with, make a list of all those people who love you, care about you, are friends. Have someone come in who, let's say your husband is ill and you're the primary caregiver, and this happens in a lot of families, where one spouse becomes the other one's primary caregiver. Someone he used to go to ball games with. Have him come in and visit as a friendly visitor. Use that time to go out and do something.
Get your hair done.
Even if you only walk around the block. Step away from the issues that you face all the time. Use your family members. Don't feel, and I say this to primary caregivers all the time, don't feel that you must shoulder the whole load or you're guilty. What you're guilty of is self-abuse then.
Stupidity.
Yeah, we want you to share that load. Hospice is very good with their friendly visitor program to help share that load. When my husband was dying, hospice enabled me to get out, get groceries, do some other things like that, because we had friendly visitors.
Okay, the hospice program does provide other services, nursing services in an emergency situation, right?
Absolutely.
Injections.
Absolutely.
Medication applications.
They also contract with a local pharmacy that's a compounding pharmacy. So many medications can be done topically as well.
Okay, so there's the end of the time. This is the last trip, but at the end of the time, you can make it a lot more pleasant. And we're all going to take this trip. That's the funny thing. I used to advise seniors under the New York State program, Office of the Aging Funding, and I would point out, look, let's stop right here and say you're going to die, and you're probably going to die pretty soon because you're over 65. So let's face that, and let's say, now what am I going to do about it? Now here's what you should do. And I tell them to set up their estate. I tell them to make their funeral plans. That's the greatest thing, is to make plans for your own funeral.
Oh.
Say
takes it off your kid's back.
Right, and then they don't have all that guilt when they're going there, and the guy says, well, here's the 6 white horses, she deserves that, right? No, you simply set it all up, prepay it. They can't get it from you if you go into Medicaid. And it's all prepaid. So I want the following casket. I want it pure, just lumber with a piece of cloth over it like they do in the Catholic Church, so nobody knows how glorious you were. And when you have that silver coffin, plain coffin, in my case, we do things a little different. We get cremated, and we don't want the $500 cremains earned. Send it over in the cardboard box, please. And then we tuck a little into the earth at our gravesite so that everybody's there, and we already have the names on the
Very nice.
on the tombstone of
Don't
everybody.
forget too, Rita, about making a gift to science. Now, for years we called it giving your body, but now we've gotten politically correct. So now we have to call it making an anatomical gift. But there is that reality too for people. I happen to be an anatomical gifter. If my body can be used to figure out how I got this far, this long, great. They then take care of cremating the remains, return your cremains to your family.
At no cost to you.
At no cost to you.
You save another $900.
Absolutely.
If you go with the Memorial Society.
Yes, absolutely.
You save another $1,800 if you go without it.
I always tell people, your local funeral director is somebody you should know personally. Because when it's an emergency, that's a terrible time to meet someone. It's much better to have had a conversation with he or she to say, here, look, this is what I want. Don't let my kids do weird stuff. This is how I want it. I've written my own obituary. All that's missing is the date.
Now, today, you have the other advantage. You can video. You can do a nice video. Say, guys, I'm gone now, and you're going to plant me shortly, but here's what I wanted to all say. First of all, Bonnie, you're an SOB, because you can go on and on and on.
Without retribution.
Without retribution. No, you can say nice things, and you can tell them what you want to pass on to them, what you want them to do. It's wonderful. We may bore them to death to do an hour-long one,
That's a great lead-in for me, Reed, because that's the other thing we want you to do. We want you to make out advance directives. Dying is not such the scary piece if you can control what happens.
Yeah.
So if you make out advance directives like a healthcare proxy,
yeah, right,
you get to appoint someone that you trust,
yeah, to take care of you,
to speak for you, to not, to put their feelings aside and honor yours.
Yeah.
Really important piece. And from CCHN, you get healthcare proxies. You just get my office.
They get them anywhere in the world, any doctor's office,
and anyone
anywhere. And it takes a minute to fill them out. You don't have to have them notarized. You don't need a lawyer. You just have a couple of friends sign it.
Who are over 18.
And that's okay. All right, we got a couple of calls. You want to take a call?
Sure.
Hey, thank you for waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's up?
Miss Seekins, did you happen to teach a psychology course at JCC, not the North County one?
I certainly did.
Okay, you were a teacher for me.
Oh, cool.
I was an older student too, I might add, but you did teach me, and very well, I might add.
Did you learn anything?
I certainly did. I learned a lot, not just about the course I needed, but I learned a lot about things in my own life that I didn't really know.
Did you learn anything about Lilydale?
Well, not really, but
not really. Okay.
I had already visited Lilydale. Well, anyways, I do have a question for your guest.
Sure.
In fact, she was addressing part of what my question is. As to the end-of-life directive and so forth, do you put that in writing in your health care? I have filled out a thing saying what I do and don't want as to keeping keeping me alive when the inevitable is within weeks away or days away or whatever.